YouTube tonight, so
Punch it.
punch it, Chewie. Oh, wrong franchise.
Yeah, it's the wrong franchise. Yeah, what are you doing?
I should resign as the director immediately. You're the captain.
I second
now.
that.
You're the captain.
It says we're live. It says we're live right this second.
I just don't
Are we
have
live?
any picture. I'm just waiting for the actual version to come through.
Oh, it did tell me we were live, so let's see.
I'm getting an ad
What's
for
up
Donald
for
Trump.
me?
Is this part of the
Hey,
video?
we're
Is this
working.
part of the live stream?
I'm just
Wait.
getting a black loading screen.
Oh no, we were live and then we weren't live. It looks like it's on repeat.
Yes, YouTube looks like it's having a hissy fit. Oh, it's
should-
working.
Oh,
No,
right.
we're good. We're good. It's fine. It's all fine. Everyone, calm down. We're here. Wait.
All right. What's up, party people?
All right, chat. If you can see us, let us know because YouTube's like having a moment. So
Yeah,
Everyone
nothing's
bear
working
with.
today.
Discord's broken. The internet's broken. Nick's broken. It's all gone wrong.
My door's broken.
Bree's
Yeah,
door's
her door's
broken.
broken. Yeah.
Everything's
All right, let me just
broken.
redistribute the link and chat. Are we good? Yep. Hi, live. Hello, everyone. It's live. I had refreshed. Yep, just refreshed. Sorry if you got an ad for that. YouTube, for some reason, is just having a moment, so not sure what's going on. Anyway, let's send out the share now. Boop. Hopefully that's all spelt right. If not, here we go. Cool. Right, and one more to Discord, and we should be good. All right, everyone, how are we doing? Welcome to the TC live stream. We're discussing Star Trek Picard episode 9. I'm glad I put the right title in there because we would have been discussing episode 8 again else. Anyway, welcome to the stream. As per usual, I am joined by Mr. Ketwolski and Commander Brie. How are you guys doing?
Fantastic.
Great to hear. So, episode 9, we're just before episode 10, the season final of Star Trek Picard. We probably have a ton of theories and stuff to discuss today, ranging from is Brent Spiner really playing all of the Noonien Slings in the entire galaxy and every android, to what the hell is that other thing appearing in the episode 10 trailer. But also, I think we're just going to discuss what is going on in episode 9 first, before we jump into the speculation, because we always get off track of that. We should just do like a whole speculation stream someday. I really think we should.
Yeah, I know you want to talk about 9, but let's go ahead and let's start talking
Let's
about
just
10
skip
now.
it. Oh,
So.
Brie dropped.
Oh,
Okay.
we lost Brie.
Nick's
But
back
is my
to-
mouth
Nick's
is my mouth zoomed in? Yes.
We're back to just knife only.
This is how I prefer to stream, you guys. This is
Okay, so
this
Bree's
is-
having some technical issues tonight. We'll try and get her back as well. Oh, there we go.
she's
Knife
coming.
Ketwolski is off the air now.
This is disappointing.
Nothing's working today.
It's okay.
It's terrible. Too many
There
people
we
on the
go.
internet at one time.
Can everyone just
Yeah.
stop on the internet for 5 minutes?
Yeah,
please?
if you guys in the chat could just log off, that'd be ideal.
If you could all stop downloading Star Trek, it'd be fantastic.
Yeah,
Right.
seriously.
Picard episode 9. Let's discuss this, and we'll do it as quickly as possible.
that's
Favorite
right.
moments from this entire episode. I'll go first. It's going to be a hard one to pick. Favorite moment, probably the Borg Cuba's arrival, to be honest, because also it sounds like a Mass Effect Reaper, if I'm honest. But yeah, Borg Cube arrival. That thing just completely blew me away. I did not expect that to turn up, to be honest, because it wasn't really hinted at in episode 9. Well, it kind of was. One of the teasers IGN released, because they released a scene from it with 7, kind of like gave a whole jig up. It was like, oh, thanks, guys. That's almost like a bit of a footage we didn't need to see. But yeah. Starting on Mr. Nick, what is your favorite moment from episode 9?
I would say my
we
favorite
go.
moment from episode 9 was probably when we actually got to see the full sequence of the admonition with Sutra. That was probably my favorite because we've been teasing that for 8.5 episodes, and then we finally get to that point where we finally get to see what the admonition is all about. So I was glad that actually came through. That was probably my favorite moment. I'm glad we got to see that.
Fiddleheads, thank you for the quick dollar donation there. Greatly appreciate it with a smiley face. Don't forget, guys, if you do want to support Trek Central even more, you can become a YouTube member by clicking join down below. And of course, if you're new to the channel, make sure to click subscribe as well. We're on the road to 50,000 subscribers and hopefully getting there very soon. So, Brie, what is your favorite moment from episode 9?
Oh, so actually he stole it.
God damn it.
Gotcha.
It reminded me a lot of, like you said, I know we've already talked about Mass Effect once, but it reminded me a lot of once you finally understand the vision that the Prothean beacon was giving you, that
Prothean
satisfaction of like, oh, now I get what the whole thing is trying to say. Like,
Yeah.
It was satisfying to be able to understand. But I just want to say, like, we did kind of call that, that we were going to find out or maybe not find out, but that an android touching it was going to be like a completely different story.
Yep.
And I like that the whole completely different story actually made sense.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's very... I don't know, this whole episode as well was like, it went really fast in a way,
Yeah.
but in a good way. I feel like it was one minute I was like, whoa, that's also, oh my god, what the hell. So yeah, someone was putting up a chat, 7 did not crash the ship, it was brought down with space orcas. Yeah, space flowers. I've just been writing the script for our episode 10 breakdown, and space flowers, I feel like I'm not quite over that just yet. What was everyone else's thoughts on that? Because I'm still recovering, to be honest.
I loved it. I've been talking about wanting some kind of crazy sci-fi element added into these shows, you know, kind of going from Discovery and into Picard. Like there was like an element that was missing because they're trying to be super gritty and realistic. And I want that kind of space magic, you know, like think of like Encounter at Farpoint where you had the Cosmozoan jellyfish there and it's what is this thing, you know? And it's like, it doesn't really matter what it is. It's just there and it's space and it's crazy. And the flowers, like, it's like, yeah, I mean, I guess they're made, but it's like, what do they do? What is all the, somehow they connect into people's minds and they turn off power and they do all this cool stuff. I loved it. I was like, this is cool. More of that. Make Star Trek strange again. Hashtag that.
Picard 2020.
That's it.
So yeah, I think the whole space flight, it was really cool, don't get me wrong. But it's just like, whoa, that's interesting. But the way they latched onto the ships, like you see three of them biting into the Borg cube almost, was really weird, but really fun at the same time. I just loved it. A lot of people in the chat are saying that 7 of 9 scenes were too short. Yeah, that's kind of what my sort of like main criticism for episode 9 again. I just feel like we're not getting enough 7. And it's just, she's like turned up in this episode, did basically nothing, apart from kicking a few Romulans off a ledge, and that was it. I think I just butchered the word Romulans there as well, but you get the point.
Yeah. You know, the thing was, is they had to get her in position. I think that for this final space battle of episode 10, the cube needs to be there. They need to have made contact. So they had to do it. It was like a checklist of things that needed to be done. But they had to get there, and then they had to keep moving to get to this location. I'm not quite sure I bought into the idea that Elnor needed to stay behind, especially in this instance. But yeah, Elnor is like trying really hard to fight neck and neck for most useless character in the show with Narek. He's trying really hard, unfortunately. And I say that, and I like Elnor, but he's other than just cutting Romulans in half, he hasn't done much.
I was expecting to get more from him. The trailers and the way it was spoken about, I expected to get more from him, but it was just, I don't know. Hopefully we get to see more of him, and like we'll discuss episode 10 later. Just I've been doing a breakdown today. It looks like he's got more in it. I get maybe he'll have like a good scene in it, and also Narek as well for most useless character. Just annoying in general.
Narek. Ugh.
Any man who dances down Borg corridors or skis around them, no, just absolutely not.
He thought it was very cool.
Did he now?
God, okay, we could turn this into the Narek rant stream.
Yeah,
but let's not.
stream.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I don't know, episode 9. It was a really good episode overall, to be honest. Like I said, I enjoyed it in my review, but I'm just really hyped for episode 10 now. I feel like we had this good part. Let's talk about one of the big things as well. Brent Spiner's magical appearance as Dr. Arik Ingo Soon. That's a mouthful. But yeah, I was surprised. I did not expect that, because we were discussing like finding data there or something. I didn't expect to find like Noonien Sung's son. That was what I was like. Obviously, we technically did find data in a way, but not the actual data we were looking for.
Yeah, I liked it. I thought it was quite a unique twist. I was expecting... I didn't know what to expect, honestly. I knew Brent Spiner was going to be back in some fashion, but I thought it was going to be like a vision of something, maybe. Like a vision that that Soji would have, or something of data, or like an implanted memory or something like that. I didn't expect it to be in this way. What did you think of it, Brie?
Okay, so I remember when you said last episode was probably your personal least favorite. This one might actually be my personal least favorite.
Red alert.
Okay, let's go to red alert here. Let me change the lights. Hold on. Gotta go to red alert. All right.
I mean, I if I could tell you exactly what it was that I didn't like, it would be a lot easier. But I think there was a few things that individually added up to make it not as enjoyable as the other episodes I've watched. One, as you said, was the Elnor not being used. Like in this time it was kind of like, I felt like it was like a little like, hey, he's here. But yeah, like you said, he's staying behind, and I didn't see a reason for that. Like, in my eyes, I don't see a reason for that other than in the writing, them saying, oh, we need to separate them because someone, you know, he needs to be there to defend because they're probably setting up for some kind of fight. But story-wise, I didn't see why he had to stay behind. And then I don't know how I feel about Noonien Sung having a son, personally. Unless they reveal that he's not actually his son. Because I was always under the impression, watching Next Generation and all the others, that especially with him making his own wife and making his own children, that they didn't or couldn't have children. So to drop that on us, that he does or did, I thought was a little bit interesting. Not necessarily what I would have wanted to see. I think I would have been happy. I know I didn't want lore, but I think I would have been happier finding out if it was lore on the planet than an unknown son. I think that might be my biggest complaint personally, but it's not that I didn't enjoy the episode. It's just that it was my least favorite so far, I think. I'm also not a big, I like the sequence that we saw. I like what I think they're setting up for with the twins. I don't like what Soji did either. But I think that it could also be going back to when Ramda was like, are you the twin that lives or dies? I think I sent you my theory, so you know why I think that that's okay. But in what I'm seeing at this moment, without any other context behind it, no knowledge of anything else that's going on, I think I am not as big of a fan as this episode. I think in the future, when they tie things together, I might come back and change my mind and say, oh, they did this for that reason or this reason or that reason. But as it stands, I think there was other things that maybe I would have preferred to see.
Before I do answer on that one, thank you to Fiddleheads for donating the $2 there, saying Brent Spiner flatly denies that AI Soong, Arthur England Soon, his name, is lore. Yep, that's a big discussion whether lore is in this. We'll discuss that in a minute, actually. Good topic.
I saw that Q&A.
Amir, thank you for $5 donation. I think that Gollum is meant for Altan, who is lore, in an attempt to upgrade from his obsolete body. Good theory, 2 lore theories. We'll discuss them in a minute. But to what you said there, Brie, about episode 9 being a bit mumbo-jumbo, and then maybe episode 10 will tie it more together and you could change your opinion on it, I think that might happen heavily, and I've been seeing a lot of opinions out there currently. Picard is like a 10-hour movie. We're very near the ending of this 10-hour movie in a way. If I took your favourite film, like if I took Interstellar and cut off the ending of it, you'd think, what the hell was that? It doesn't make any sense. But obviously, I think episode 10 might round it up a little bit. But as Nick also mentioned, and we discussed for a couple of weeks now, several of these threads might carry across into season 2. It depends what they want to do and whether things are going to get wrapped up. But I personally think the main obvious question is, or answer, that's going to get told in episode 10. But just looking at that preview alone, there's going to be a ton of stuff going on next episode. Yeah. And can we please have a Federation fleet, please, or any Federation starship? This is my 9th week asking now, CBS. Come on, one more week.
The reason I think that they're going to do it is because they left Elnor behind. I think that's what they're setting up for personally, that the Borg cube is going to somehow join the fleet. If that doesn't happen, I'll be kind of sad. But I think that that's what they were trying to set up for, and that we are going to see some kind of fleet. But I could be wrong.
Is it me, or does the Borg cube look like it has a sphere inside? Because basically, you see the exterior there. It looks like it has a sphere lodged into it, whether that's just like a nice fancy bit of greebling going on. But for me, it's like, what if Seven just launches the sphere and goes and kicks some shit out of some Romulans in a Borg sphere instead? Because the cube, I'm not sure how they can get the cube off the planet, to be honest. I'm not an expert on engines in the Star Trek universe, so that's going to take some magical power. Unless the Orchids can drag it back up to space, I'm not sure. Something needs to go up there. Maybe a sphere.
Well, yeah, I think there's a possibility. I mean, the Borg cube is one of the toughest pieces of technology that we know of in the Star Trek universe, in Alpha canon at least. It's one of the toughest pieces of technology, incredibly difficult to destroy, and incredibly, incredibly resilient. So do I think that the cube will eventually be completely regenerated and ready to rock and fly it back into orbit? Heck yeah. Do I think it could be ready to go the full cube by the time the Romulan fleet's supposed to be there in a day? Maybe not. I think your theory about the sphere, which it does look like it has one kind of tucked in there, I think that there's a possibility of that. I think that that's definitely a possibility. Or the Borg could easily remake other cubes, could make smaller cubes, I guess, or some of their Borg probes cubes. Or something, like little tiny baby cubes. I don't know. Yeah, I'm curious to see what they do there. I would hope that I'm hoping that they didn't just take the Borg cube out of the fight like that, because we get into a situation in episode 10 where if the Borg cube was still active, that it would end the fight too quickly. I'm hoping that's not the case, because even at 280 Romulan warbirds flying in, you'd be hard pressed to take that cube out at full strength, because it's just a Borg cube, you know. So I hope that they didn't just do that so that nobody sits around and says, well, why didn't the Borg cube just show up? And I'm hoping that's not the case, but I guess we'll find out.
In Voyager, remember in the episode where they go back in time and they say that they got something off a crashed Borg cube in the Beta Quadrant?
So
the
yes.
Thing? Is this then, now that it's crashed, do you think this is the Borg cube that
You're
was
not the
crashed?
first person to say that, actually, because I've seen that theory pop up, and I believe Michael Chabon actually commented on that a couple of weeks ago. Maybe.
Because I know that I talked about this with Dom like weeks ago, when Seven first showed up, but now that the Borg cube has actually crashed, it makes me think a lot more that that's the one that in the Voyager episode they got the temporal something, I forget what it was, implant from. It would fit canon. That would be cool.
It would be a cool tease.
It would be a cool tease.
Definitely.
I think it's the episode Timeless of Voyager, wasn't it? The one where they go back.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
That could work, to be honest. What I was just going to quickly say, a lot of people are discussing about the Starfleet Squadron, and also one person just asked the question, now I've missed it now 'cause it's gone away, about why Picard couldn't contact Starfleet via Bruce Maddox's apartment, you know, the synthetic colony. I asked Michael Chabon this myself because I was quite curious about it, and obviously you all know I want a Federation fleet to show up and save the day with maybe a couple of key ships. We're not going to mention names. They're going to show up and save the day. So I asked Michael Chabon this, and he basically said the whole facility was designed to hide from the Federation, so it makes sense that you know, the synthetics could not contact it makes sense that Picard could not contact Starfleet / the Federation. So it brings back the question, does the Starfleet Squadron actually know where you know, Picard and that have gone? Do they know that this colony, and if so, they were heading for Deep Space 12, well, they still now somehow got to get to a colony which technically isn't on the map in a way, or kind of hidden from it. They're not going to know, so how the hell are they going to turn up? I hope they turn up, but how are they going to get there is the question. Unless there's a tracker in that weird compass thing that someone gave Soji, so now we're really grasping straws.
I'm going to throw something at you really quick, and you're not going to like it.
I'm also going to throw something you're probably not going to like in my theory, but
I'll be off.
I think it's possible that they have set up in episode 9 the reality that, one, the Federation fleet doesn't know where they are and is not going to show up because he wasn't able to contact them, and two, that they have now disabled the Borg cube, so it's going to be a much more desperate fight with the 20 flowers and the massive Romulan armada that's coming their way. And I'm wondering if they set those things up so that that way nobody has any question about it in episode 10 when everything starts to seem much more desperate, and maybe there is not going to. We're all theorizing that the Federation fleet's going to magically find them, which is definitely within Star Trek's possibility. We have that kind of stuff happen all the time. But I think that they might have set it up so that it doesn't occur in that way, and that it's much more of a desperate fight.
Potentially.
So I am actually more on the side that not necessarily full-on trickery, but I noticed that, okay, so Commodore O is leading this Romulan fleet. Did she just like put in leave and be like, I'm going on vacation? Or was she like saying, you know, hey, we've got contact from Picard, we should do this? I think one of two things is going to happen. Either A, the androids are going to go so bizarre, like so bonkers off and like, all, you know, start attacking so much to the point where the Starfleet and the Romulans end up teaming up. And that's how they end up knowing the position, or it was a trap to begin with the Federation knowing the location through the Romulans and Commodore O, but, you know, not being there for the reason we thought they were going to be there.
Always choosing not to do anything.
Right. So I think we're all so optimistic that we are going to see it, that they're going to subvert that expectation and either show that they teamed up to begin with, because Commodore O's sitting on the Romulan warbird, like, you know, where did this... You know, like I said, did she just toss in leave and say, like, I'm going over here for, you know, I'm off for 2 weeks to do a different wartime mission thing? Or was it, you know, coordinated is kind of where I'm at.
That's a good question, actually, because I think someone asked Siobhan as well, basically about about whether Clancy knew Commodore O was undercover. And he said, someone can correct me if I'm wrong here, I'm pretty sure he said that Clancy was and the Federation were duped just like everyone else. They had no idea O was undercover, which makes sense. I think Clancy's not an idiot. If someone said, by the way, your chief of security is an undercover Roman who hates synthetic life and potentially also caused the attack on Mars, she might go, ooh, really? Might have a bit of a problem here, Chief.
Well, Picard was trying to say it, but she told him to just shut the fuck up.
I like that.
Yeah, no, I'm just kidding. I do think that there's somebody actually just mentioned this in the chat, and one other ace in the hole here, which they could also be setting up, is Riker knows where Picard went.
Yes.
Because he was there when Kestra found the name of the planet. And he could follow up with Starfleet and say, hey, did you guys ever meet up with Picard? And if they come back and say, no, he missed his scheduled meetup at Deep Space 12, then he may activate out of reserve duty status, jump on board a ship, and he might be the one that shows up. You know, it's just another idea. I don't know what they're going to do. I'm very, 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 very excited.
It'd be interesting to be honest. Cypher Bay area fan 707, thank you for the donation, saying, since Guinan is coming back in season 2, is it safe to say the Borg will stick around as well? Yeah, this has been a big discussion. I think we'll definitely do like a big speculation / discussion stream once, Picard season 1's up. But Guinan coming back for season 2 of Picard is kind of the only concrete detail we have about season 2 at the moment. For obvious reasons, I don't think they've started production yet, and probably with the whole virus concerns, they're not going to start production for quite a while now. But yeah, Guinan's the only concrete detail we have regarding season 2. So nobody really knows yet, but it's a good question.
My thing is, with the return of Guinan, and I know a lot of people are theorizing that Picard's going to die in this season, even though all obvious signs would point to no. I think that the return of Guinan, the confirmation that she is returning, for me, validates the fact that Picard will not die in this season, because I don't think that there would be any reason to bring her back by not enabling a reunion between those characters.
Agreed.
Especially since Patrick Stewart is the one that invited her to come back on national television.
Also, those characters are pretty key to each other as well. Like, Guinan and Picard's relationship was one that was thoroughly explored for the Next Generation, but even when you get to their last episode, you still don't quite understand what's going on between both of them. It's almost like, yes, a lot of it's been explained on how they know each other, but it's still a mystery to a high degree. Amir, thank you for the donation. Crazy Theory, what if the admonition was both a warning to organics and a trap for synths, leading the destroyers to wipe out both the creators and the synths, leading up them to unite? Good, actually, theory there. I actually speculated about this in our upcoming video for Tuesday. I think this is what the whole admission is. It's basically like almost like, a trap card in a way. The synths the organics like, no, don't open it. Because everyone interprets it in one way or another. We saw the synths interpret it like, oh, we must contact these people. The Romans like, oh, no, you don't. We're going to annihilate you before you ever get the chance. So everyone interprets it a different way. Picard could grab it and see something completely different because of his own moral compass and what he's been through, etc. So, I don't know. I really think, especially because we've seen the trailer for episode 10 and the red tentacles of doom, as we're calling them. I've just came up with that. Something weird going on there. The Reapers are coming. If anyone's seen
I was
Mass
just going to
Effect.
say the Reapers.
Yeah, I theorized this in my review video. I am right now of the belief that whoever made the Conclave of 8 put those tentacles and this creature or this AI construct in like a phantom zone prison in space, and this is actually a trick to get somebody to release it onto the quadrant, and it's going to come through that little portal hole, and it's going to do stuff that nobody expected it to do. And I think that, in my opinion, that would be the opportunity for the Federations and the Romulans to team up to try to defeat this device. Right. So that's what I think. I do think that this is it's not what the Romulans thought it was, and I don't think it's what Sutra thinks it is either. I really do believe that the admonition is what somebody views and interprets, and it just I don't want to say tricks people, but it plays on their own cognitive disconnect of what they believe to be true, and it just plays that up in some regards. So I think it's going to be a trick for sure. I don't think it's going to be the savior. Like, I don't know about y'all, but when I call down a savior and it looks like deadly black centipedes, I don't think it's going to work out.
We should just close that and not
I don't think
back.
it is.
We'll try a different alien species that might be after us. Ryan, thank you for the $5 donation. Does anybody else think the ancient Sims are linked to the machine planet that modified Vija? Also got a feeling that may also tie in with control. Yeah, it was a good you actually brought this up, actually, Ryan. A lot of people have been discussing this. I've seen a lot of theories this week, I don't know about you two, about the whole Vija thing, also the Takon Empire. No one's mentioning Iconians, though. You all are uncultured swines. No, I'm joking. So a lot of the Vija stuff there. I don't know, there's a ton of stuff floating around right now. A lot of people saying, like, the Takon constructed a galactic barrier to stop them from entering, etc. Something like that. I don't know, there's a lot of stuff going on right now. Brie, what are your theories on the whole red, black centipedes of destiny thing? We're just going to come up with a different name every time we talk about them now.
I actually didn't even think about the idea that it was a trap. I was just so on the path of it being totally what they expected and, a synthetic life form. But I was more on the side of maybe Soji having second guessing her actions. Because I know in the trailer we see her scream no, and that would fit very well with your theory. If it turns out it was a trap, that would explain why she screams no, because she just they just summoned themselves into a trap.
Yeah.
They summoned their trap cards. So, but I up until when you said that, I was just on the idea that it was going to be a Reaper style wipe out non-synthetic life form kind of thing. But I think it would be better if it was. I would prefer it, your theory, to me just going along with what they had already seemed to be setting up.
Yeah, it's I do agree with the whole no thing, because I was remembered myself there, the episode 10 trailer, she's screaming no. It's almost like they have made a mistake, and it's like, oh dear, what have we done? What have I done? Yeah, a lot of things, maybe Iconia. I really hope it's like a species we know. I don't know. I hope we do learn more about whatever this red tentacle thing is. Let it not just be the ancient, weird people who have come out of space and are going to kill people. The ancient centipedes. That's what we're calling them now. I hope it's not that in a way, because I think that would ruin it slightly. But yeah. Let's discuss the lore thing quickly. Oh, no, after you.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say is, they, and I say they as in Secret Hideout and the writing team and the creatives did a really interesting trickery on the audience during Discovery Season 2, where everybody thought that they were going with a Borg origin story with the whole Leland and Control situation, and they didn't pursue it. So I'm wondering if they're trying to lure us into a certain thought process of, well, maybe it's the Takons, maybe it's the Iconians, maybe it's this, maybe it's that, and they're going to kind of flip it on us and make something entirely unexpected. I don't think the unexpectedness necessarily worked too well in Discovery Season 2, but I think because we're also they've been much more coy about it this time, and we're also in the theorizing station of we don't know exactly what the hell they're going to do. I hope that they do something maybe potentially unexpected and it doesn't tie into anything that anyone could have possibly predicted, because it's something entirely new, which would be kind of cool. I think that would be kind of a bold. Yeah.
As much as I like to sit around and predict stuff and speculate it, I like being pleasantly surprised as well. There's nothing worse in modern media where you get to the end and you think, oh, for frank's sake, I knew this 2 weeks ago. Tons of video games I've done that with, so it's like, yeah. Brie, she was going to say that, sorry.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, I think that would kind of fix my whole, if that was the case, if it completely subverted all our expectations, I think then I would be on the side of going back and saying I enjoyed the episode. I just think one of the reasons that I don't is because in my eyes, I see them setting up for all the things that I don't want to see. But if they subverted all those expectations, then I'd be like, oh man, great. They made me think all this stuff was going to happen and none of it did. I remember the other thing that I didn't like they were setting up towards, and that was the Narek redemption arc.
Yeah, so this is something I touched on as well.
Other one, I was talking to my brother Hunter, and he basically was like, "Man, they're pulling a Zuko. I bet you $10 that in season 2 he's going to betray them again, and season 3 he's going to come back as a true good character." But I think, that could happen where he does one final betrayal before becoming a good guy. But if they do fully set up for a Narek redemption arc, I don't know how I'm gonna feel about it. Because I just don't. Like I said, if it turns out that the androids are as evil as he made them seem, then I can see the redemption arc working. But if it turns out that's not the case, then I don't really see how they're going to do a successful redemption arc for him.
Harry Treadway, the actor who plays Narek, is a phenomenal actor.
Great guy.
He does, and he's all around great dude. I think he's doing the best he can with the character. But
I like the character.
They're not doing enough with it.
Yeah.
He's definitely getting his redemption. That's what it seems like. based
seem
off the
like that.
preview for episode 10. And it's not right. They're not doing it right, in my opinion. And I know that sounds
He's
really
so
kind of shitty.
creepy
But
still at this point that you don't
Yes.
want him to redeem himself. Like
Right.
the whole like creepy when he was in the cage, I was like when he was in the jail, I think is one of the things that made me a little like when he was just like my love, my love, my love, and I'm like
sad violin
this
going
is
on.
a little too creepy for me to want a redemption arc from him. And then because they set it up for it, and I think we're all on the same page that he didn't actually kill the android, that it was the other twin sister, and she framed him for it. And I think that's going to come out, but I just, I don't know.
For sure,
was
definitely.
I the only
yeah.
one who, okay,
Maybe
I was like,
she's
was I the only
stealing
one who
it.
thought that?
No, for sure. Yeah, I
Yeah.
definitely got that.
Yeah, no,
for sure.
I don't think he did it. I know that they made us think he did it by showing him look at it, but she said she needed him and didn't. So it's very obvious in my eyes that he didn't do it. She let him go, and she did it. That Sutra killed the other.
The question is, though,
android,
why
but-
would she let him go?
to make it look like he did it in escape attempt, so that because immediately after that scene, she's out there. Another one of our sisters has died. The
Right,
humans
okay.
are terrible.
Yep.
This and
Yep,
that.
yep.
Like it was just a ploy
Almost a further
to
own
get
agenda in a way.
to make the other androids more on her side. So
For sure, definitely.
yeah.
Yeah, it was
So
about
I
building
just-
that narrative.
So yeah, as much as they made him out to be super damn creepy in this episode, it was a weird time to immediately hint after all that creepiness that he's going to be getting a redemption arc in the next episode. Like maybe if they toned down the creepiness of him a little bit in that episode, I wouldn't feel so weird about him being the good guy.
Yeah, so here's the thing. And as of right now, in this moment, Narek and the Zat Vash are 100% right, because the synthetic lives are doing exactly what they were afraid of, which is bringing down this being from on high to destroy all organic life. So I'm not even sure if a redemption story is even fitting at this point, because there wasn't that moment.
I was right
where-
all along kind of thing.
Right. Right, exactly. And what's crazy is he's going to team up with Rios, who has also been very hesitant to jump on board with the pro-synthetic life thing up to this point. So
He even
I don't
said,
know.
What if she is the destroyer? What if we're going about this the wrong way? Why are we trusting her? Well, and it's not just Rios, which also hashtag good guy Rios. And he's done nothing wrong. Greatest character. He's number one in my heart. Everyone else should too. But Rafi has also been on that train since the beginning. Ever since she showed up on board. What do you know about her? She pulled a gun to her head. Like, do you know anything about her? Does she know anything about herself? Like, why are you doing this without any kind of, you're so trusting. You're so trusting of this android that could destroy everything.
I agree.
That's a good point,
100%.
Thomas.
Yeah.
I mean, if a crew's
so we'll
loyalty
see.
could be tested in this episode, if the end is about to rain, if Hellfire's about to rain down on you from the sky due to some bloody centipede monster, I would probably think twice about what I'm doing, to be honest. Like, hang on a minute, old man wants me to help them, there's giant centipedes in the sky, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
There was always this
And I
outtake.
mean, Rios already had a moment like that just when he saw what
Exactly.
the Jaunas look like. He was like, no, I'm done, Picard. You're on your own after this.
I'm off.
So I can see him saying like, whoa, this isn't what I signed up for. This is now, we're fighting the wrong fight.
Yeah.
I hope not, though, because
I hope
this
not,
is the
too.
moment for them to shine as a crew together. But the way that they're framing it almost seems as though there may be a fracture, with Agnes kind of siding with the synthetics, Picard being under house arrest, and Rios and Raffi maybe getting
with Narek.
getting along with Narek, in that, like, because Narek's going to leave and say, yeah, Sutra stabbed one of the other ones in the eye, let me go, and is trying to get them to release this being from on high that's going to destroy the entire, universe.
Well, he might not even know that she got stabbed. She might just say, go run. And when she came, so he might not have any idea that he's been framed for a murder.
Good point, actually.
Because then when he comes back, he could be, or he could go back and they could be like, what are you doing? Or like, you did this. And he's like, what are you talking about? I did what?
Right.
So
right.
I think they're setting up that he has no idea he's even been framed for a murder. I don't think he knows that.
Let's just quickly catch up on donations a minute. Oh, thank you for a $20 donation. I think Q will show up, but Q said the trial never ends. Yeah, I can hear Nick from here. We've been discussing this for a while now, haven't we, the whole Q thing. But also, before I do that,
Especially now.
SFBarea 701, or 707, sorry. Thank you for the donation. In episode 6, there was mention of chronometric activity on the cube. Do you think that's a figure in the story somehow? Great question. I remember we discussed it a couple of weeks ago. I'm not sure it does. It's almost like it's a throwaway line in a way. I did think Michael Chabon actually touched on this in one of his Instagram Q&As. You can check it out on his own personal Instagram. I believe he did make a comment about that, but it's something to go back and check. You think Q will show up? Oh, I don't know. We've been discussing Q for weeks now, haven't we? It's almost as if... I don't think he will. I'd be heavily surprised if he does. But speaking of which, Nick, when me and you had the sort of like mental fit, should we say, when they almost leaked the Q thing, you know, when that sort of thing came out, I was watching the clip because I was cleaning out the computer and I found a clip I must have saved like 10 times in one folder. And I found it again. And I was watching it and like the glove looks very similar to that of the F8 Androids gloves, the sort of orange/red glove. It almost looks similar to what they wore, you know, their whole jumpsuit in episode 2. However, the gold staff still doesn't make any sense. So it's like, what's going on here then?
I was never on. I'll be completely honest here. You guys have been talking about Q for so long. I've never been on the train of thinking Q.
Right, fine, the airlock.
I have always been on the side of everyone being so excited for Q showing up and it not, and then everyone's going to get their hopes up because he's not going to show up. But now, the way they're setting it up, I can now see why they would bring him in, because that was my biggest reason why I did not think Q was going to show up. Is there was no reason. There's no reason to bring Q in. But if they summon freaking, you know, a Lovecraftian horror from whatever realm they're summoning it from, I can see Q showing up. So that's why now that I've seen that, I can be more on the side of saying, yeah, I could see Q showing up. Before seeing that, I think it would have been maybe pointless to bring Q in, because it would have just been like, oh, here's Q because you wanted him. But I think now if they did set it up as, you know, here's Q, he's going to help you. Like that's a lot that I can see bringing Q on board for. But before that, I wouldn't have been happy seeing him, because I would have felt like it was just dropped there to make everyone happy. But if he can actually do something or is needed, that I can totally see and be 100% on board for. I would love to see Q be needed by Picard, especially since it's so, you know, Picard never wants to say he needs Q, and when he does need Q, he's always like harumph about it. So I think it'd be really nice to see that relationship again of like, I don't want your help, but I'm going to need it.
I agree with you 100%. This is definitely an opportunity for Q to show up. I don't think it's going to be like Q coming in to help, because he's never overtly very helpful with Picard.
It's more like, hey, you did this. You wanted this to happen. You wanted to save this android girl. Like,
so I do want to go ahead.
Set yourself up for that.
I want to say that for moving forward, we should refer to the centipede thing as the synthipede. Because it's synthetic.
You were sat there thinking it the whole time, weren't you?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought of it.
In your eyes, honestly.
All the gears are turning.
The synthipede. I definitely could see, especially because I believe right now we're not going to get a calm ending. I think it's going to be, the ending of this episode is going to be very dangerous and left as a cliffhanger. And I could see a situation where Picard is faced with this synthipede and the Romulans, and people are dying, and he's backs against the wall. He doesn't know what to do. And then old, you know, John DeLance, he pops in and he's like, oh, Picard, how could you possibly have messed this up so badly? And then he just
ending.
And then
that would
boom,
be a great way to end. That would be a great, I was gonna say that would be the best way to end season 1. It's just like, what have you gotten yourself, you know, like when Riker, what have you gotten yourself into? Like, but Q just like, Picard, come on now. Like, you've done it again. You've gotten yourself in another pickle.
That's right. So I recommend for everybody out there, because I made this mistake for episode 9, to, once episode 10 comes up, to intentionally skip the title sequence. Do your best to skip past it, because in this episode, I tried to skip past it on the CBS All Access app, and I accidentally clicked right on the moment where Brent Spiner's name appeared, and I'm like, oh, okay, so that's great. So try to skip past it.
Make yourself a cup of Earl Grey while it's going on, and that's the
right. Walk away.
I usually do something while, like, I use that opportunity to go do stuff while
wait till
it's
it comes back on, right?
Or I move all the way to the very the frame that shows just a black screen, because then it just says the frame right after that is like based off of the show created by Gene Roddenberry.
Yeah, it's usually
like that's the only frame I'll ever see. So like I usually do that if I am actually having to sit there, because I don't want to be spoiled by guest stars.
Yeah, because I saw
Yep,
Jerry
so-
Ryan's name pop in this, so I was like, for Christ's sakes.
Yeah,
I
I
was
don't
almost
like
expected that, to be
when
honest, but
when I get spoiled for anything. Like spoilers in me, I will be so angry when I if I find a spoiler, I get so irrationally upset.
So someone said about Q showing up with the leaks. I want to touch on this as well. The leaks that popped up to begin with for Picard, they really annoyed me because I read them anyway because they came across my desk. And they annoyed me to a degree, but I think now we've reached episode 9. It's almost, I don't want to say painfully obvious, but what's a positive word for painfully? It's good, they're not true anyway, to be honest.
Apparent?
Yeah, that works. Most of it are BS anyway, to put it with. The only reason the first, I'll try that again. The first 3 episodes were accurate in sort of leaks is because in America, the first 3 were premiered and someone stuck it on one of the Trek websites, and that's why some of the leaks could be correct. However, the whole thing about Beverly being dead in episode 9, well, after watching episode 9, you can clearly say that's a bit of bollocks, to be honest.
Yeah.
And the leaked script page that showcased Rios being a hologram, how's that working out for everybody?
Yeah, that's not happened yet.
Yeah.
But,
Well, I mean, it can't. The ship lost all power. He would have disappeared.
Well, exactly,
with the
yeah,
rest.
good point.
He would have
Unless his badge is a mobile emitter. Watch me dig
Oh,
this
God.
hole further.
Oh my god. He's got a
really
battery
don't
pack
see
on his butt. Yeah, exactly.
But
Doctor, I need you to turn me off.
My anime fans out there would be like, because to me that just rings so similar. Like if you've been watching My Hero Academia, that one guy with the mimic quirk where he just all his clones killed each other to the point where there was only one left, and he's like, I don't know if I'm real or not. Like I can't see that being the case because they even said, he scanned his brain. All these pieces of Rios, because in the Broken Pieces episode, like all these pieces are of Rios. I don't see him being a hologram. He's a real person. I just don't see how he could be a hologram at this point.
So to round this off, because Nicholas to go in a bit, let's quickly discuss lore, because we've done a bit of speculation as well. Now, the Michael Chabon and Brent Spine have been pretty good to sort of like, Michael Chabon's not so much, but Brent has been pretty hard, especially today, saying, it's not lore, it's not lore.
He's been hitting it hard on Twitter.
And Amir's just donated saying the cliffhanger is going to be Ultron/Law escaping in his new golem body. To make a good point out of that, and the whole mind transfer thing.
I think the golem body is going to be for Picard, though.
It could be for a number of people, to be honest, at this rate.
Yeah.
When they said, mind transfer, I immediately thought, well, they tried to mind transfer himself to B4 and Nemesis. That didn't work out too well. I originally took that as maybe a hint to Data, but...
I could see them setting it up for Picard, though, because, they just immediately before that, a few scenes before, showed how badly he was deteriorating.
Yeah.
He's dying. So now we've got a golem, basically. We could just mind transfer. It's empty. It's just a shell right now. So it could be set up for anybody, but I think they're trying to set it up for Picard.
Potentially. It would work, because obviously his sort of like, that would answer, he doesn't technically die then, does he? Could we deal with Picard, synth Picard, though? Is that...
We just get a young, similar-looking actor, and
do not. No.
People would be so angry.
No.
Funny you should say that. I know somebody.
I've seen that joke spread online. That's why I said it.
Well, we know somebody who's very close to us currently who does pull off a Picard sweater very well, and if they shave their hair, maybe.
Now hiring.
Tea, Earl Grey, hot.
There we go.
There it is.
Just lacking the British accent. Oh no, the French accent.
I was just about to say, we'll just have to work on your British accent a little bit.
I'll have to get better.
It's a French accent, isn't it? He needs a French one. Just say the USS antifreeze in space. There we go.
That's it. Yeah, I agree with Brie. I think that the heavy focus on Picard's illness in this episode, and then all of this random stuff about mind transfer and empty shell bodies, I think is not a coincidence. I think that that's them setting it up that they're going to put Picard in this shell body, which of course is going to raise a lot of questions, which is why would they put him into a 90-year-old body and not a younger body?
Well, that's what I'm thinking, why I don't think it's good. I hate to say this. I really do. I think they're gonna set it up as that might not happen now, but it might be the finale of the show where they set it up and put him in a young body or something.
Picard lives forever. Way.
Oh gosh,
I don't see why they would put him in an old body. What I could see is them putting him in, because I know that their de-aging is quality in the show. I will give them that. They do really good de-aging in the show. So I could see them doing the finale of the show, putting him in a de-aged body of himself, like maybe Next Generation era Picard.
Maybe. It's actually interesting now that we're talking about it, is a lot of focus was also put on and it was kind of weird, but a lot of the emphasis in this episode was put on to the physical features of Picard, like the lines and his stressors, and each line was wisdom and stuff like that. So I'm wondering if they do make him a body, they try to replicate those exact features and to try to showcase that he still has all those wisdom bits in there. Perhaps maybe that's why they were doing all that weird stuff with touching his face. I don't know. I don't know. It's interesting though. Yeah, I don't know. That's definitely. I think whatever's happening with that mind body, I don't think that's going to happen in this episode. I don't think that'll come up. No, it's not.
I think that's a season 2, maybe even season finale thing. I think they're setting it up now, but it's not going to be brought up until the season finale not the season finale, the series finale. I think that's more of a final, plot line point.
Someone just said, as long as Tom Hardy's free, they can do a mind transfer. Ryan, thank you for your $5 donation.
That's the joke that I saw posted all online, all on Twitter, was like, let's just get Tom Hardy. He'll play a young Picard. Like, it'll be great.
I think Tom Hardy tries harder than everybody else to forget that he was in Star Trek. I don't think he liked that movie very much.
But that's the joke I saw getting put around that made me...
Ryan, thank you for the donation. Maybe after Disco Season 1, CBS is trying to avoid confirming fan theories like the plague. We remember Tyler, Vok, and Mira Lorca. It's a great question donation, actually, by the way. It's hard and impossible to avoid fan theories, in my opinion. Say you've got a team of 10 writers, it's like the average writing room might say these days. I don't know much about them. But let's pretend Picard has 10 writers. I think I had more, but hey, let's say 10 writers, and then you've got almost like 1 million fans, practically. Starfleet. Star Trek's fan base is easily 500,000 strong, if not even more. Probably millions of people out there who love Star Trek. There is no way you can counter fan theories when you've got like 1 million to 10. Someone out in the fandom there is going to know exactly what's going to happen there just by the offset of predicting it. It's almost like the law of average and just nature in general. Someone out there knows it, whether it be myself or someone else sat in a house thinking, "God, I bet this is going to happen," as they, turn on to the next Amazon program. So it's possible to happen, but no, I don't think CBS is avoiding fan theories because it's impossible to do that. And if you're trying to like surprise your audience too much, I'm no writer, but if you're trying to surprise your audience too much, I feel like you could also sacrifice story elements there at the wrong price, essentially. If you're trying to undercut your audience, it could sacrifice the story. Just tell a story. If people figure it out, they figure it out. It's not the end of the world, in my opinion, at least.
Yeah, I mean, that's why... sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I am glad that Soji being the Borg Queen thing was quashed a while back.
I don't remember that myself.
I don't remember. I was never on board with that one. I always thought that one was just not... I just never liked it. I really didn't. And I'm glad that one's now kind of been put out of commission.
Carlos just brought up a good point, by the way. He says that mind transfer thing might just be for nothing, because if the synthetic compound is destroyed, the whole premise is just gone.
Yeah, it could be gone.
Because we know they've got 218 warbirds versus 20 space flowers and a damaged Borg cube and a cargo freighter.
But there could be some kind of like force field. I mean, we know that like homes and stuff can have force fields, and it's already been established that there's some kind of like, maybe not a physical force field, but like some kind of barrier preventing communication to outside, like Starfleet, for instance. So I can see if they can do that, I can easily see them having some kind of force field to at least put off the assault for a little while. Because, I mean, we know that it's a thing. I mean, you saw Riker be like, hey, shields up. So it's possible. I can see
it could be it could be a natural phenomenon. We didn't see it in this episode, but we actually saw it in the background of a couple of the shots if you look really closely. But we do know that this planet is known for having really intense, long-lasting thunderstorms. So if it rolls over the compound, that could prevent ships or transporters from getting access to it.
It could be that the thunderstorms aren't natural to begin with. The thunderstorms could be
they could be synthetic themselves.
It could be artificial.
Okay, synth storms.
It could be artificial. Like in the DS9 episode, they could control the weather on Ryza. So I mean, if they can control the weather on Ryza, I'm sure it's not too far-fetched that they could have some kind of barrier the lightning storm barrier.
It's very possible. Yeah, I'm down for it. I mean, right now, literally the sky is the limit. I have
that's true.
No idea where this is going. The only thing we know for sure is that the Romulan fleet arrives and there's a space battle. And that's all we know for sure. And that's just because of the trailer. Beyond that, we really don't have much.
Commodore O looked like a bad bitch. I loved it.
Why is it whenever I look at her, this is me, no offense, whenever I see her on the bridge in sort of like, you know, the black sort of outfit of the Telstar, etc., I immediately think of Michelle Yeoh for some reason.
Yes,
I'm not sure why.
I sent the exact same message to Dom. He will be in chat confirming this, but I was like, I got some heavy Giorgio Mirror Universe Giorgio vibes is what I sent him. I said I'm getting some heavy Mirror Universe Giorgio vibes by looking at Commodore O standing on the bridge like that. Like that is the exact same thing I said to him. Was like, man, I'm getting some, you know, power bitch vibes. I love it.
But it still remains to be seen. Like me and Nick discussed this a while ago after we both watched episode 9. Is whether Commodore O is the actual true mastermind behind the whole Romulan thing, or someone else is, you know, up there. And we've had theories about Sela for a while now. There we go.
Sela!
You know, we've had theories about that. Somehow I think there might be something else.
She's an angel, by the way. Denise Crosby is probably one of the absolute most genuinely nice people that's an actor that I've ever met. I can't say enough good about her.
I feel like something else might be at play, to be honest, and like we're going to get like surprised. So I don't know. It depends.
I'm excited. I'm super excited. I'm ready to see the episode 10. Yeah, season 10. Give me season 10.
Season 10.
That's what we
you know
want.
what sucks though is because of all of the stuff going on in the world, we're gonna have to wait even longer.
I know.
For season 2, which does suck.
I'm glad you mentioned that.
And it's gonna make all the. I almost said some mean things. It's gonna make all the specific type of people pushing their little theories. It's going to make them even more like, oh yeah, there's not going to be a season 2 now.
Yeah, they'll be foaming at the mouth for sure.
For those wondering, actually, I'm glad you mentioned this, Nick. Some people may be wondering about Star Trek Discovery and when that's returning, because that's obviously the next flagship series. So far, we still haven't got a confirmed date for it yet, and I imagine the whole COVID-19 thing has really just smacked CBS's schedule around.
And then on top of
Anthony
that,
Rapp did confirm the weekend via one of his live streams, I think, with also Wilson Cruz, that season 3 of Discovery is currently in the editing phase. However, due to COVID-19, they're all doing remote working, which is taking 10 times more than it should have done. Therefore, I would say Discovery Season 3 is at the risk of being pushed back. It just depends what they pull out. It also depends on what the initial release date is, because it's not just editing we need to finish. Then it also needs to go to marketing, they need rights, and they need to broadcast at the same time. There is a ton of factors to take into account. Post Star Trek Picard, we will be doing a video here on TC discussing Discovery and the latest news. I do hopefully expect CBS will make an announcement sometime a couple of weeks after Picard. They should do in a way, as a lot of people are waiting for it, especially with current art leaks and several other things floating around at the minute, a new series. So hopefully it purely depends how the whole virus thing goes throughout the year and what else it disrupts in terms of industry and trade news. But yeah, I just wanted to get that out of the way just so everyone knew Discovery is still coming. It's just taking a lot of time, and that's word of mouth from the actors themselves. You can't get much of a better source than that.
Yep, agreed.
Awesome. All right, everyone, I think we're going to wrap up the stream here. A few of us have to dash today, a bit of a shorter one today, but don't worry, we'll be back next week, and next week it's probably just going to be us three again. However, we might have some special guests on if we can get the time to discuss the season final of Star Trek Picard. So if you are looking to come and discuss the season final of Picard, it'll be episode 10. We'll be back here next week at 9 p.m. at GMT, and I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be amazing discussing the ending of it. I can't wait, because season 2 theories are going to be through the roof.
Oh yeah.
Just brainstorming.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
All right, everyone, thank you very much for all your donations tonight. It's greatly appreciated. I'm 289 of you currently viewing the stream. Thank you very much. You can, of course, head over to my co-host channels and check them out. Ketwolski is doing some fantastic Star Trek content in a minute. I believe you've got a video of a bigger discussion going up this week with a few friends, haven't you?
Oh, yes, indeed. It's going to be great, so look forward to that.
And you can also follow Brie on Twitter, who does a ton of cosplay stuff and a variety of other things. Just go follow her. Awesome. Right, you can follow me if you want. I just tweet about things going very badly in the week. That's about it. And moving. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. You can catch our brand new videos this week, including a breakdown of episode 10. Keep an eye out for that. And also a video on George LaForge, if we have the time and piece stuff together. Thanks for watching, everyone. I've been Captain Jack, joined by Brie and Ketwolski, and we will see you next time. Goodbye.
See you guys.